Hello. I suppose that most of you have actually read 1984, and now I have to confess to some embarrassment about bringing it up in this video. That's because I feel embarrassed because I've always had a sort of snobbish superiority when lazy-minded people come up against some sort of mindless bureaucracy and start shouting 1984 for honestly very little reason. It's so easy for people irritated by plain old human idiocy simply to shout 1984 and use that as a blunt instrument, not only to convince anyone listening that they've been horribly victimised, but also as a means of shutting down any dissenting arguments. So I hope most of you regulars will know that I don't call 1984 into everything as a means of proving an argument. However, I've been prompted to do that by the latest revelations about Fauci over the possible origins of COVID-19. Well, the virus. What really struck me were the parallels between a comment in George Orwell's 1984 and what's going on now with the news. I was particularly impressed by a reference in the novel to who was at war with whom. There were three major spheres of influence in the 1984 universe. There was Oceania, of which Airstrip 1, that's Britain, to you and me, was a part. Then there was Eurasia, which seems to cover the same territory as the old Soviet Union. And then there was East Asia, or China, and its satellites. It's interesting, is it not, that in 1948 Orwell had it that the land of the free would degenerate into an information-controlled dictatorship, just the same as the two other communist regimes he had as examples. I mean, considering how America was at the time, that's a most remarkable bit of prophecy. But that's a digression. Let's get back to Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia. So far as we are informed, and, we never know what's really going on in the outside world, but within the Airstrip 1 universe, so far as we're informed, these three groups were at war with each other, but not simultaneously. They were at war in series. And this is how Orwell described it. Oceania was at war with Eurasia. It had always been at war with Eurasia. It would always be at war with Eurasia. That is, until sometime during the novel when it was suddenly at war with East Asia. Had always been at war with East Asia and would always be at war with East Asia. So, let's have a look at how organs like CNN have been putting it. America was, up until recently at any rate, at war with Russia, and with that notorious Russian spy, Donald Trump. Oh, just a minute. I apologise to all you regulars who obviously realised that this was a sarcastic comment. But I do have to add, if only to save time handling the terminally stupid who make quick fire and thoughtless comments under my videos, that was a sarcasm. Right, we got that clear. All right, back to the sensible people. Where was I? Oh yes, according to CNN, we were at war with Trump, who stood in for Russia, or Trump and Russia, or whatever. But now we're at war with China. And, by the way, we've been at war with China all the time. It wasn't Russia after all. Never has been. The only thing that Orwell got wrong was who was driving all of this historical revisionism. He assumed it would be the governments. But then he was living in a world still being ruled by governments and not by a bunch of super rich information salesmen. It never occurred to him that the media would take control. And that gave me a thought. We used to have an aristocracy. Then we got a meritocracy. And now we have a mediocrity. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.